What's the difference between an inspection and an appraisal? Big difference. So an inspection is looking for defects in the property. An inspection is not something that a lender is going to require. Inspections are done strictly for the buyer's benefit to find any sort of deferred maintenance, or underlying issues that are wrong with the property that might prevent you from purchasing it. Additionally, at least here in Florida, in order to get homeowners insurance, you need something called a wind mitigation and a 4-point inspection, which is essentially looking at the roof coverings and any like hurricane protection, and that's the wind mitigation. And the 4-point is looking for any like major safety issues, like the water, the water heater, the electrical. There's a lot of weird stuff that's done with like electrical work that we find on inspections where like panels are double tapped. There's like multiple circuits feeding into one breaker, which is unsafe. So insurance requires all of that to identify any risks that might cause the property to be damaged, right, or burn down, or whatever, suffer from flood damage. They're looking to mitigate any sort of risk. If they're writing an insurance policy on a property, they want to make sure that it's not going to burn down in a week. An appraisal does not typically look, at least not with the same level of depth that an inspection does. An appraisal is mainly about the value of the property. Now, an appraiser, especially like an FHA or VA appraisal, if you're getting a government-backed loan, there is a checklist of certain things that appraiser needs to inspect. They are going to look for obvious flaws with the condition of the roof. FHA and VA specifically, like they look at some weird things. Like there's a couple of things that they inspect with plumbing. You know what I mean? They want to make sure that all the faucets and utilities are working. They are going to make sure that all of the windows can open and stay open. That's something that we see pretty commonly on FHA appraisals that we don't see as much on conventional, where an FHA appraiser is going to open up the windows and make sure that they stay open automatically and don't fall down. So there's like a surface level inspection that's done on some appraisals just to make sure that the property is like safe. It's called health and safety items. But primarily the purpose of an appraisal is not to identify these, latent defects with the property. It is to make sure that the value that the lender is using to determine an acceptable loan amount is supported by local comparables. So essentially they want to see, if you're buying a house for 500,000, if you're required to put 10% down, they want to make sure that the value of $500,000 is well supported so that they can support their loan of 450. That's the purpose of an appraisal, whereas the inspection is really more for the buyer and for insurance to identify any issues with the property.